About 2 weeks before showtime, they finally get into the theatre. Giant sets are broken down into modular pieces to fit on 48-foot trucks. Overhead cranes move the set pieces onto the stage lift, and the crew bolts everything together.
When you've been through all that and you get it onto the stage, it's fantastic to see it there, completed, working, and when you actually get through the opening night and it's running, yeah, it makes you feel good, and then you move straight on to the next one.
Performers rehearse on set and in costume for the first time. For the production staff and creative teams, it's a chance to iron out kinks, reblock scenes that don't work, solve problems and integrate lights and effects.
It's a great relief to see it all up there. It's always got that panic. You always think, how are we ever going to get there? And we always do. You have an enormous support here. Everybody is pretty amazing at the end of a production when it doesn't look like it's ever going to get finished, and somehow miraculously it does.
Of course, we have so much going on backstage with the costumes, the dresses, the makeup, the wigs, and all the stage managers and the stage crew. It's sometimes you have much more excitement backstage than out front. So it's a big operation. I don't think the audience, they don't need to know all about that, and they don't see the set changes sometimes because they happen behind a curtain. Or when we change from opera to opera, like when we do a matinee on a Saturday and we have to change to another show in the evening, it's pretty amazing to watch the crew changing at incredible speed. If we could build a house at the same speed, we would have, or someone worked on the road at the same speed, everything would get done. So I've worked in opera all my life. I'm still amazed by the whole thing.
There is a slight insanity factor about it, and if that's missing, then it gets dull and boring.
The instant the show is over, crews mobilise to bump the set out and bump in a different set for an entirely different opera.
And the second that it's clear the action starts to happen, anyone from the outside might have a look and think it was total chaos, but it is not. Everything is ordered and everybody has a specific job to do as we progressively take things apart and put it onto the rear lifts, drop that down into the scenery storage area below. It's the creative teams that it affects most, because that production stays with us. The creative teams themselves, once that production reaches opening night, it is not theirs anymore. They have to tear themselves away from this thing that they've created and just go away, and they leave it with you, and then they've got to go and start working on something else. Yeah. We take ownership of it.
Opera is a hard thing for, if you've never been to it before, because you think it's a club, you think it's something strange and elitist. But of course, once you're in the theatre, you realise it's not that at all. That, you know, it's the most exciting, primeval experience you're going to have.